So the other day I was in customs and I happened to match up against a rare fairy armadillo opponent. Now, I have said in the past that I think fairy armadillo is actually a pretty solid unit, although I think there was a lot of people that disagreed with me. However, in one of the last patches, it actually got a pretty substantial buff, whereby the fairy ball that it turns into actually blocks a lot more damage than it used to. I think it was 1-1 damage initially, but then it's up to 2-2, but of course at level 3 that becomes 6 damage from every hit. So it's actually better than the old version of Lemon, which had to be removed from the game because it was so broken. So in this run, we're actually going to go for some lobster stacking, which has historically been one of my favourite things to do in the game. I just, for whatever reason, haven't had many runs recently where this happened to work out. But here we get incredibly lucky with the stoat cell into a lobster, and then we've got 2 other lobsters and we find a 4th one in the shop. So we're actually going to, I think, buy sell this crow to get the double level 2 lobster, and then bring in the extra lobster. Yep. And then probably sell the sheep for the monkey. I don't often have monkey in my custom packs, to be honest, but the original goal for this was really just to try and get one fairy armadillo to solo an entire opposing team. But in retrospect, I really shouldn't have been trying to go for that because there are so few summon teams in the pool when you get to the later rounds that, yeah, that's probably a real waste of time at this stage in the current patch. So we're going to take the garlic because once the fairy armadillo gets turned into the fairy ball, it still retains the garlic. So that's an extra 2 damage reduction on every single hit. And then here we end up getting stoat from the treasure chest, and our stoat luck continues because we end up getting level 3 beluga. And maybe you can guess what we're going to put inside this beluga, but it's something that can activate the fairy armadillo's ability and guarantee us that we'll get the extra health every turn. For now, we're just going to put a blowfish inside there. I don't like going into battle with an empty beluga. It never feels right. And actually, at the moment, the test version of beluga has been changed quite significantly. Probably for the worse, in my opinion, but I guess we'll see if that change ends up sticking. So here we get the small one, put it inside the beluga, and for some reason I actually don't move the beluga forwards here, because if I did, then I would guarantee activate the health gain ability on the fairy armadillo. And instead it actually just gets knocked out immediately by this rabbit. Luckily we get away with the tie, but not my finest moment there. So I think what I'm going to do is actually level up this lobster and then combine 2 of them together so that when we bring in the second fairy armadillo, it's going to get even more stats. And then we're going to double down on the green guys. We've got our pink and green squad that we're trying to assemble here. And we're going to bring in the evil book, which is going to summon the great one. So the great one will appear after the small one is fainted, which I guess is kind of thematic. I don't think I had a flying squirrel in this pack because it would have made a lot of sense to bring it in and just keep the great one cycling every couple of turns, because it is frustrating when you have a build that is kind of geared up for these summon snipers and then you end up losing the toy. So that was probably a bit of an oversight, but it's working out okay for the moment. So here I'm going to go for the level 3. It's maybe a bit late now to actually get a level 3 unit. But then we roll the Venus flytrap and I think, actually, this is kind of fun. If your fairy armadillo token is always going to survive the battle, then you're guaranteed to be able to get it from a Venus flytrap buy sell. So we're going to bring in the fairy ball and run it side by side with the fairy armadillo. And you'll actually see that it takes very little damage from both the great one. It's only going to take 4 damage. And then from the small one, I think it's actually only taking 1 damage for every hit. I think the small one does 2 damage per hit and then repeats it at higher levels. So you're basically halving the damage. Now, I think here I'm going to buy sell the fly trap to get another fairy ball. And maybe I was just going to play 2 of them separately. And I am thinking there about actually buying the small one in the shop phase. Because if we can trigger the armadillo's ability twice, then they'll permanently transform into fairy balls. However, I think here I just decided to keep the small one in the left-hand slot because it means I can buy splash food, and if it hits the beluga, it doesn't actually matter at all. So we'll go with another garlic, just further increase the damage mitigation from the small one activation. And then we end up facing this double Venus flytrap team, which looks a bit unusual. They have a level 3 frog, so presumably some stats were about to be swapped there, but they get completely demolished by the small one and great one combined. Now we're going to take a quick look at this run that's right at the end. 8 trophies, turn 14, and I think I'm just looking for a small one to put inside the beluga, which we end up getting here. And then, yeah, alpaca's done its job. Buy sell the oyster. And I think I end up taking the flounder so that I can try and get level 2 Amargasaurus next turn. We don't have any garlic here, but the Amargasaurus is going to give back so much HP that I think we're going to heal virtually all the damage, if not the whole thing, from the small one. It's actually funny how often this happens where I get the small one or the great one, and then the next team will have Triceratops. But luckily the rest of their squad was a bit atypical, and so we were able to win. So I think we'll activate the flounder. That's why the bacon's frozen. Normally you wouldn't bother freezing bacon on turn 14, but all we need is 2 targeted foods, and then we can get the level 2 Amargasaurus. And then we'll take the cotton candy, and the adult flounder, level 1, gets to participate in the final battle. And actually we faced this team that has the level 3 quail, so obviously going for the achievement there. But despite the fact that we have no equipment, the Fairy Ball's ability means that we can avoid fainting from that 50 attack guinea pig, and we end up getting the achievement for the level 3 Fairy Armadillo. But we're not going to stop there because we're still missing the achievement for the level 3 Fairy Ball. Now this is one that a few people have had issues with because prior to one of the updates, a bunch of people got the achievement for the Fairy Armadillo token, and then when the new version came out, they discovered that the achievement was gone. And it was kind of unfortunate. The reason for that is that the ID in the database changed for the token, so it meant that anyone who had gained that achievement previously ended up losing it. I think that's the only time that's ever happened in the history of the game. I could be wrong, but yeah, I think that was a unique scenario. Let me know in the comments if you're one of those people who had the Fairy Ball achievement and ended up losing it. But I actually put out a video back when the Star Pack revamp came out trying to go for the achievement, and I'll link that video in the description. I won't spoil the outcome because actually, win or lose, I still wouldn't have had the Fairy Ball achievement when it came to this version of the game. So we end up getting the level 3 guinea pig here, which we're just going to use for a bit of extra gold. Okay, actually no, we're going to transform it with Water of Youth, and we end up getting a hedgehog, which actually works out pretty well. Because again, like the small one and the great one, you can use it to try and increase the odds of the armadillo's ability actually going off. I also had Firefly in this pack. That was one of the original goals, was to pill a couple of fireflies, and therefore guarantee transform the fairy armadillo. But yeah, it just didn't pan out that way. So I think I'm keeping this Water of Youth just in case the Stoat produces something that I don't want. Again, we're probably deliberately targeting Beluga, but if we got, say, level 3 Flounder, that would be incredible as well. I don't remember what the other tier 5s were. I guess we do have a Bad Dog as well. So we could potentially get level 3 Bad Dog and then use Waffle on it. So we'll pill the Blobfish to get the level 3 Stoat, freeze up the 2 tier 5s in the shop that we might need. And we sell it and we actually get Crane, which I'm going to transform into a monkey. So not the unit I was hoping for. Unfortunately, Crane just doesn't really work out with this team because we need the Armadillo to get hit twice for its ability to go off. And if it's gaining a melon, it might not end up getting hurt more than once. So we're just going to feed the Armadillo some stats. And I think, yeah, we should probably take the stat food instead of the chocolate. And then we can just buy the chocolate next turn. But yeah, instant level 3 monkey is pretty powerful. Actually, I think because of the Fairy Armadillo's ability, yeah, we're going to regain another 6 health here. So actually with the 2 abilities combined, the Armadillo is going to get to 50 health very, very quickly. And so probably we should swap the 2 units round and actually start buffing the Hedgehog. Because we are definitely a 1 pet team at the moment. Yeah, we should definitely buff the Hedgehog here. And then probably just sell Betta Fish and buy the chocolate. I think at this stage we can still be fairly comfortable that we can beat a few different teams as long as they don't have, Scorpion or specific ailments. I guess, of course, Skunk is going to destroy us as well. But look at the damage reduction here. 11 attack retrievers only doing 5 damage with the Garlic plus Fairy Ball ability there. So we end up getting Sphinx from the Griffin. Would have been nice to get another Stoat, but I guess it would be possible for the Stoat to sell into a level 3 small one, which might make a bit of a mess of our units other than the Fairy Armadillo. So there we go, there's the level 3. The level up from the Magic Lamp only gives us attack because we're already at 50 health. It might actually have been worthwhile to have Lollipop in this pack as well, so that you could swap the health over when it got too high. But I'm going to freeze this chocolate, and that's going to allow me to get a level 2 Evil Book when the time comes. This looks like a team that is setting up for some Seagull Loop shenanigans, but they're not quite at that point yet. So it's an easy win. And again, I think I should be looking for Water of Youth. We find one here, and I'm going to save it for next turn to potentially turn the monkey into something more useful. Yeah, okay, we're actually going to freeze 2 Water of Youth because oftentimes you're not going to get exactly what you want at the first attempt. Decently scaled team, but our 2 big units are just going to be too strong here. And we do actually get the activation again, so I think that's going to max us out. Or were we already maxed out? I didn't notice. I think here I contemplated the Venus Flytrap again to get another Fairy Ball, but we transform the monkey into a zebra and then back into another monkey, which is something that happens to me all the time with Water of Youth. It feels like I've got a very high hit rate on spending 6 gold for no gain whatsoever. But in the meantime, the Hedgehog is still getting large. Another team which looks relatively big, it's a 2840 leech, but the damage mitigation prevents us getting knocked out there. And we win again, so that puts us on 9. And we're going to try transforming the monkey again. This time we end up getting Crane. Now there's some fun stuff you can do here with Crane and Small One, because you can actually trigger the Crane in the shop just by buying the Small One. And as much as I would like to keep the bad dog in case we need to refresh the ability with the waffle, I think instead we're going to play a reduced size team. And here I'm going to give the crane a bit of health to make sure that it survives when I buy the small one. Now, for us to actually be able to get the achievement, we need the armadillo to turn into a fairy ball right now. So we need this second small one that happens to show up in the shop. Incredibly fortunate to get it there. And I think I'm just going to contemplate exactly what I'm going to do here. The crane is going to get knocked out, but I could give a permanent melon to the fairy armadillo, which is I think what we're going to do. The melon that we gave to the hedgehog is just going to get removed. But there we go, the crane gets knocked out. Its dying wish is to give melon to the fairy ball. And then I think I'm going to sell the two small ones and just buy one of these food items onto the hedgehog. And on turn 14, we're going to play a 2 squad with the level 2 Great One popping out at start of battle. And it's actually a summon team for a change, kind of an unusual one, with Jerboa as well. And the Hedgehog plus Great One wipes a ton of their units. And the damage mitigation from the Fairy Ball's ability is going to see us over the line. So there we go, the level 3 Fairy Ball achievement with a 2 squad in custom packs.